Good afternoon to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, the founder of Meldon Law, and it's a great show today. We have two very special guests, Stacy Scott, the public defender for the Eighth Judicial Circuit, and later on we're going to have Eric Jewell, who's the general manager for KISS 105. So we're going to have some great guests today. Before we get to our guests, I want to tell you a little bit about Fan Fest coming up before the Vanderbilt homecoming game this Saturday, 10 o'clock. Meldon Law is going to be in front of the O-Dome, giving away lots of great free swag for everybody. Bring the kids. Whether you're going to the game or not, show up. It is going to be a fun time. Homecoming is always great in Gainesville. And all you have to do is go to the main entrance of the O'Connell Center, as we call it, the O-Dome, anytime after 10 o'clock this coming Saturday. It's an early game, a 12 o'clock start. I guess that's what happens when you lose. And we are going to have a blast at Fan Fest. We're also giving away 2 tickets to the game plus a $100 free gift certificate to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill here at Celebration Point in Gainesville, where we are recording today from the podcast room behind me. You can see all of Steve Spurrier's helmets that he either wore as a player or his players used when he was coaching. So it's a pretty cool room here, and we're very privileged to be able to be in Steve Spurrier's great new restaurant. Come out here. It's opened up now fully, and come on out. You'll have a great time. So we're ready to go with our first guest, Stacy Scott. How you doing today, Stacy?
I am doing great, Jeffrey. How are you?
Well, good.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Stacy and I have known each other for a long time, and we're good friends, and it's a great privilege to have you on our show today.
Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
So you're the public defender for the Eighth Judicial Circuit. Now that includes 6 counties, including Alachua County, correct?
Yes, it's a 6-county circuit, so it's Alachua, Bradford, Baker, Union, Levy, and Gilchrist counties.
And that's a big area.
It is a huge geographic area. We go all the way from the Georgia border, all the way down through Alachua County and out to beautiful Levy County at Cedar Key.
Wow, so we go coast to coast.
We're coast to coast. Yeah.
So anyhow, tell us a little bit about, how you got started, in law. Where'd you go to law school, by the way?
UF. I am a double gator, graduated law school in 1995.
And what did you do at the beginning of your legal career?
Well, in law school, I did the public defender internship with the clinical program, and I knew then that I wanted to be a public defender. But when I first got out of law school, I needed a job, and I was offered a job by Rod Smith, who was our state attorney at the time, and I worked as an assistant state attorney for a couple years, and then I switched over to the PD's office when Rick Parker gave me a shot at our office, and my former boss and our longtime public defender and big Gator fan. So I started at the PD's office in Gainesville and worked my way up through the ranks. And then when Rick retired in the middle of his term in 2010, I was appointed by then Governor Charlie Crist to be the elected public defender, and I've stood for re-election on the presidential years since that time.
Well, that's really incredible because we've only had 4 public defenders in the last, I think, over 50 years. We had our friend Buzzy Green, who was great. He was from Stark originally, I think, and then Alan Parlapiano, and then Rick Parker, who you just mentioned. and then you.
I know. Well, I'm really honored to be in such an illustrious group. I've had the pleasure of knowing all of them and working for Rick for many years. May he rest in peace. He's departed this world, but he was a wonderful boss and a very dedicated public defender.
Yeah, I knew Rick very well, and he was always really conscientious, and he really, did some groundbreaking things to try to elevate the status of the public defenders.
He did, and he was also one of the first public defenders in the state to implement an electronic case management system, even back when I was county court supervisor, and I sort of went into it kicking and screaming because I was a paper and pen kind of gal, and but he had the foresight to do that, and now that's the standard statewide, and that's what we do, so we're grateful that he had that vision to make us go electronic way before its time, really.
About what year was that?
I want to say it started around 2006 that he started transitioning to that. And some of the old-time public defenders were like, I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to use that. And they were kind of allowed to keep paper files, sort of like contraband almost in the office. But now we're totally electronic, and we were way ahead of the rest of the state on that because of Rick.
Well, not only that, in our office, we started using electronic files maybe 5 years ago, but we still kept paper files, and because we were collecting all these medical records and other things that you needed for a personal injury case or a criminal case. So it's pretty amazing that 15 years ago, the public defender's office was already going to electronic case management systems.
Yeah, we were the leader, I think, in the state on that in the Eighth Circuit, and it definitely some bumps in the road to get it going, but we still have some paper files, like in some of our death penalty cases. There's still the banker boxes of documents, but everything is also scanned and into our case management system, and it's really a way you have to learn a new way of organizing and practicing law when you don't have those paper files. And so, with the younger generation of lawyers we have now, it wasn't too hard, but with, people like me and older, it was like, oh, I have to learn how to do this again, but it's really been great, and it's way more efficient.
Now, how large is the public defender's office in the Eighth Judicial Circuit?
Well, staff-wise, we have about 68 total staff. We're slated for more, but we have some vacancies. We have 37 attorneys circuit-wide. Most of those attorneys are here in Gainesville because that's our largest county. Alachua County takes up about 66% of our total caseload and workload. So our main office is in Gainesville, downtown. And then we have regional offices in Bronson that covers Levy and Gilchrist County, and then in Stark, and then also way up in McClenny and Baker County.
Yeah, that's a hike. I wonder how Baker County ever got into our judicial circuit.
I don't know, but I bet you there's a very interesting story behind that, and there has been some talk, over the years of shifting Baker County to the Jacksonville circuit, but we don't want that, and we're because we love Baker County and they love being part of the Eighth Circuit, but it is a very long way up there. It's like an hour and 15 minutes from downtown Gainesville.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of the things that you've done that I was so proud of you was getting the new public defender's office built right next to the Criminal Justice Center. Can you tell us a little bit about the evolution of that and how it happened?
Sure. It was a concept that really started in the mid-2000s, but then was tabled because of the recession. And then when things started looking better, I had the support of the chief judge of our circuit, then Judge Roundtree, and our former state attorney, Bill Cervone, who both agreed that the facility that the public defender had been located in for many years was not adequate. It was right above the old Phil Nick's restaurant, right across the street from the top, and it's a charming old building.
I had my office there in 1979, by the way.
Well, there's Probably still, rats of the generations from were there in the attic then. But so anyway, it's a lovely old building, but hadn't been maintained the way it should, and it wasn't big enough for our needs. And so we got the support of the court officers, and we utilized some funds in a court capital fund, and convinced the county commission to go ahead with the project, and basically it's going to be funded by the court capital fund and not county general revenue tax dollars, which is fantastic. We went forward with the construction, and I think we've been in there 4 years now, if you can believe it. But it's really been a game changer for the public defenders. It's a professional, modern law office. We've never had that. It really raised the morale of the employees and the attorneys, and I really feel like it inspired confidence in our clients to come to a professional law office and feel like they're going to get the representation that they deserve.
Yeah, really, the state attorney's office and your office are the two largest law firms in our judicial circuit.
Yeah, it's funny to think of it that way, but yes, we are. We are the largest criminal defense firm in the circuit.
And you know what? Over the years, Stacy has been very generous to share information that's gained from their office as far as court rulings and research and results in different cases, so that there's a collaboration between both the private sector, the criminal defense attorneys who handle cases privately for folks, and the public defender's office.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we have such a wonderful bar here in Gainesville. And I'm not talking about the one here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, but
this one's great too.
This one is great too. I'm looking forward to checking it out. But no, we have wonderful criminal defense practitioners in Gainesville, and a lot of them are former assistant public defenders, and we love working with the bar to make sure that we're all on the same page and we get the best results for everyone that comes through the criminal justice system.
Yeah, there are, on that point, a lot of very fine criminal defense lawyers in Gainesville and the surrounding areas that were worked at the public defender's office and then went out on their own and did very well in both criminal defense and in other areas. I mean, Fine, Farcash, and Parlapiano, I think they were all public defenders at one time.
Yes, I think you're correct. And wonderful trial attorneys, for sure.
So, one of the things when lawyers get out of law school, people think that they know how to practice law. And of course, we know better, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting because doctors and many other professions actually have a training program. You've been involved in helping train mostly third-year law students.
Correct.
However, for the most part, lawyers get very little training as far as really the actual practice of law.
So true, Jeffrey. I mean, there's zero clinical training built into the standard law school education. You really have to want to do a clinical class and to get real world experience in law school. And you just, even then, you're not fully prepared to just go out and hang a shingle, in my opinion. So that's where public defenders and state attorney offices come in, because we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort in training folks in how to practice criminal law and how to zealously represent their clients. And we send folks to training seminars. We do a lot of in-house training, and they're, of course, getting trial by fire in the sense that they're getting thrown into a caseload and doing a lot of jury trials that they wouldn't get to do if they were going into private practice. Like, let's say if they went right out of law school into an insurance defense firm, they're going to be sitting behind a desk somewhere for years before they would ever be allowed to conduct a trial. And in the PD's office, you might be in trial the first month that you work there.
The first couple days. Here's a misdemeanor case. Go in and let's help the people out. So it works, and it's great training. We're going to take a 1-minute break on Meldon Law and Friends, and then we're going to be back with our public defender, Stacy Scott. The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your fault.
No,
I am calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey! This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky. And we are back on Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, and welcome to everybody who's watching and listening to the show. We're very pleased to have our public defender, Stacy Scott, on the show with us. Again, go to Meldon Law Facebook to enter the contest to win 2 tickets to the Vanderbilt game. They're great seats, plus a $100 gift certificate to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Just go to Facebook and Meldon Law. I think Facebook's up again today. It went down a little bit yesterday, so it's going to be interesting. But I think it's great that everybody is behind the Gators, and we have to stand behind our Gators, win or lose. So let's show them support this weekend. Looking forward to Vandy coming into town. Anyhow, Stacy, I want to ask you about whether or not the state attorney's office, the prosecutors, are they looked at as like the arch villains or the enemy in Gainesville?
Well, I hope not. I hope not. I mean, obviously, we are in an adversarial system, and we're going against the prosecutors a lot. But I feel like we have a very good relationship with the state attorney's office, where we're able to communicate with the attorneys and try to work out cases that are in the best interest of the defendant and justice, and they have to be worried about the victim more so than we do, and so they're representing their interests, and we feel like we have a pretty good relationship with them. But there's gonna be times where we disagree, and that's where going to court comes in, and let the judge decide or let the jury decide. But the important thing is that we have a pretty high level of professionalism and trust with them, so we're able to communicate and try to get them to understand our clients, see our clients as a whole person and not just as a case file and something bad that they're accused of doing, but to understand them as a person and try to work out the case in the best way possible.
I asked that question because when I go down to South Florida, there's a whole different level of professionalism, not only with the state attorney and the public defenders, but the private bar in general. And maybe because it's so large, they have a different attitude. But I've been practicing in Gainesville now 50 years, and it's a small enough community, so if you act like a jerk, the word gets around.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the Eighth Circuit is well known for our level of professionalism and civility. My motto is that you never sacrifice your reputation for one client or one case. My word has to be my bond. People have to know that when I say, I've done this, or this is the circumstance in this case, that I'm being honest and truthful, and you can ruin your reputation with one dirty trick or one cheap shot. And that's not in the best interest of your client or of your clientele, or in your own business interest going forward. So that's what I love about the Eighth Circuit, is that, we all kind of know each other and hold ourselves to a high standard.
So how do you take the young lawyers coming into your office and teach them about professionalism and how to, make sure that, you're proud of the way you're representing your clients?
Yeah, that's a tough one because, lawyers are competitive, right? I want to win, the prosecutors want to win, and then, you turn loose a bunch of 25-year-olds, with badges on one side and with, really feeling like, we have a mission and zealous advocates for indigent clients. And so you do have to guide them very carefully in that realm of, this is zealous advocacy, but now you're crossing the line, and don't, not to take it personally, and sort of lead by example and try to show them that you don't have to take a shortcut in order to get the best result for your client. And so, it's a learning process, and we have a mentorship program in our office. So like the younger lawyers are paired with more experienced lawyers, and, trying to show them the way. But I'm not going to say that there aren't times where the water reaches a boil on both sides, and and that's where just people like you or me, or who've practiced a long time, can step in and say, hey, let's look at this a different way. Let's take a deep breath and see how's the best way to handle this. And so I love all of our young lawyers. They have so much fire and passion for what we do, and so we just have to kind of direct all that energy and passion in the right direction.
As they say, you can disagree, but don't be disagreeable.
Exactly.
And we had Brian Kramer, our state attorney, on the show last month, and Brian was great because he was talking about the collegial atmosphere that we have here that is admirable. I think there's very few judicial circuits around the state that have the kind of professionalism that we have here. And I'm very proud to have practiced my whole career in the Eighth Judicial Circuit. And like I say, when you're in the courthouse here for a while, you'll see some of the out-of-town lawyers come in and act in a different way than we act.
Yeah.
And usually, it doesn't help their clients.
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen it.
We're laughing about this because, it really is almost legendary about the out-of-town lawyers coming in and trying to act like big shots, and the judges around here just don't take kindly to that.
No, it's not good when the lawyer starts out, well, in Miami, this is how we do it. And you're like, ooh, no, don't say that.
and getting to the judges, I think our judges really work in helping train the young lawyers as well, don't they?
I think they do, because they're in trial with them a lot, and so they can kind of, talk to them after the trial about, actual performance mechanics, but they can also try to talk to them about what they think works or doesn't work, and, a tactic, that maybe didn't go over so well, or what their impression was. Some of the judges do that more than others, but it's always, it's always good to get feedback from the person that sees your work the most.
Yeah, and we have meetings with judges right now with COVID. It's Zoom meetings, but there are meetings where the judges want to hear commentary from all the lawyers in our judicial circuit, and I think that's a valuable experience for the young lawyers sometimes, is to see that the judges, they're sitting up on a bench and they're scared to death, and they walk in there and they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? However, I've seen a lot of our judges try to, rather than beat up on an inexperienced lawyer, try to, maybe call him to the bench and say a few kind words to him about getting in the right direction.
Yes, and I think that's so valuable. To have a firm hand but yet a kind hand, I think, is a very important quality in a judge. And I've taught trial practice at the law school, and when we do the competition at the end of the semester, and I act as a judge
for years, and they'll get up and do their presentation. Usually they'll have a legal pad and they'll sit there and they'll read it, for their opening statement. So they'll go through it, and I'll let them do it the first, and then I'll say, okay, I want you to take your notes. I say, put them on the side and just get up there and just talk, from memory about what you were going to say. and they get up there and they go through it and they do it and they say, "Oh my God, that was," and everybody claps, right? Because they did a better job and they're more natural and they really did terrific. We only have a few minutes left, but I want to ask you, how has COVID impacted the whole, process as far as judicial and what, trials and what are you guys doing right now?
Well, we are back doing trials. In fact, we won a jury trial today, I think, and in felony court. But COVID had a huge impact on our local criminal justice system and statewide. Basically in March of 2020, everything just stopped. All the cases that are kind of all going through a pipeline stopped. We weren't having court. People were sitting in jail way longer than they should have, waiting for their day in court. There were no jury trials. And then, of course, when we started back, it was slow. And then sometimes we'd start back doing a trial a month or so, and then we have to scale it back because there'd be an uptick in COVID cases. So it's been quite the experience. It has shown us that some aspects of our criminal justice system are antiquated and that we need to modernize, like how we visit with clients in the jail. We had no capability for video visitation, and so if we couldn't physically go in and talk to people, we couldn't talk to them. So we had to work around that with some audio, options to talk to folks when we weren't allowed in a lot of the jails, especially the smaller county jails where they just couldn't afford to have an outbreak of COVID and they just wouldn't let anybody in. But we've been working through the backlog. We're trying cases again. We're moving things forward, in-person proceedings. Some proceedings, like routine calendar calls, some judges will still do by Zoom. I hope we keep some of those aspects.
In the civil practice where I spend most of my time, we're really excited about being able to have Zoom calls on, it's a regular status call, and it used to be you might line up there and spend half the morning waiting to be called for 5 minutes.
Right, and I think for things like that, Zoom is great. What we don't want to see is any kind of remote jury trial proceedings, any kind of remote jury selection in criminal cases. We want people to come to court and be cross-examined in person, because I feel like to speak your truth in the courtroom, we need to see your body language. We need to look you in the eye. You need to be able to stand there in front of a jury and say, what happened and testify. And so we don't want remote for any of those kinds of things. But yeah, for routine like case management calls or things like that, don't call people out of work to come to the courthouse for 2 minutes because the case is going to be continued, or have a lawyer sit there and for an hour to say, we want to set it for next month. That doesn't make any sense.
Stacy, I am so excited to have had you on the show. We're going to have you back because I've got a list of 25 other questions that I could, would love to talk about. However, thank you very much. Stacy Scott, public defender for the 8th Judicial Circuit. We're going to take a break for 3 minutes, and we'll be back on Meldon Law and Friends.
When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, But if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we. We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you. The Meldon Law Firm from the beginning has been built on giving back to the community. I enjoy coming to work as much today as I did in 1971 when I opened my practice. I don't look at this as a job. I look at it as serving other people. While we're alive, what better feeling can you achieve than knowing that you've helped other people and thereby you enrich your own life?
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault.
it's not. No,
I am
it's not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady
wait,
here,
honey.
this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I am Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law, and we are very excited to have our good friend, Eric Jewell, on the show. I want to just mention again that Meldon Law is giving away 2 tickets plus a $100 gift certificate from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where we're broadcasting from today, as we do every Tuesday at 4 p.m. And yeah, just go to Facebook, Eric. Maybe you'll be able to.
Well, you know, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go over there real quick, Jeffrey.
So, again, go to Meldon Law on Facebook,
Yep.
and you will see the contests, and we encourage everybody to enter the contest. It's really fun. We enjoy supporting our Gators. And we've got a really exciting weekend. It's homecoming in Gainesville, which is always big. Most offices close down on
Oh, that's
Friday, and we have a really good time. And our friends at KISS will be promoting homecoming and the
Yep.
game and letting everybody know what's going on. Anyhow, Eric Jewell
Yep.
is the Vice President and General Manager of KISS 105.3 as well as JAMS 98.9. Welcome to the show.
Thank
Eric.
you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
So,
Yeah.
So, what course did you study in school to get to be the GM and vice
You know what?
president?
It's the course of hard work and perseverance. How about that?
Yeah,
I don't think they. My subject in school, of course, I'm a junior college guy. So it was sort of general studies, nothing real specific. Just trying to find my way, basically, Jeff.
Yeah. So you are really, your roots are, a long time in Gainesville. I
Yep.
mean, I was reading your bio, born in Philadelphia,
Yep.
and then you moved over to Atlanta.
Yep.
Okay. Then you wind up at Santa Fe
Yeah.
College.
Well, you know
and-
what? I wind up at Santa Fe because my wife is a Gainesville girl, which is really cool. And we came back here, and my wife had already gone to Florida State.
My daughter went to Florida State.
Okay,
so
all right,
it's
so I
okay.
don't have to worry about that. Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, so, and I just really I knew I had to go to college, to, make a better life for us. And then my kids started to come along.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how did you get your first job in the radio business?
That's a really good question, and I'm going to tell you, and I say this to my friends all the time, so I was about to get out of, Santa Fe, I was selling Rainbow vacuum cleaners. I'm not kidding.
I
Jeff.
remember Rainbow.
And they were $1,250.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. But you know what? It was commission only, and I sold a lot of them. Okay, and it just so happened, and I think she's still in town. Star Bradbury owned AAA. What is that? Employment, and I actually was at an appointment with her trying to sell her a vacuum cleaner, and she looked at me and says, "Eric, I'm not spending $1,250 on a vacuum cleaner, but your pitch is pretty good, and I'm going to actually send you to a job that I think you might be able to get." And I said, "Okay, what's that?" And she gave me the GM's name. Darwin Postian was the GM at KISS at the time, and Steve Sullivan was the general sales manager. God rest his soul, Steve has passed on, but I still know his wife and kids. They still live here in town. And I go on my first interview, and it goes pretty well. And on my next interview, and I got the job. And do I need to tell you what year that was?
Yes, of course.
1985.
Now tell all of our look how good Eric looks. Okay, and we're talking about 36 years ago. Eric breaking into the radio. So what was your first? What did you do there for KISS?
Well, no, I was in sales. I was a junior rep.
Okay.
And I will tell you, Jeff, I was so excited. Back at the time, I got my first sale was, I think it was $180 a week. And it was a sub shop.
A sub shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
$180 a week. And I remember coming back and showing my GM the contract. And I was so excited. And he pat me on the back and says, "That's pretty good, Eric. $180 a week." I think it was only for 3 weeks. So.
Well, okay. Well, look, $180 in 1980. What was
85.
it? 85.
Yeah, sure.
Was worth a little more, maybe 350 or something like that.
I think it was worth a lot more then than now. Yeah.
So, and when you get your first sale, because sales is really, I mean, look, if you can sell a $1,250 Rainbow vacuum cleaner, right, you're doing really good. Because I remember when I was in college during the summer, I tried to sell knives door to door. Okay, and that one didn't go so good, you know.
Oh boy, I tell you.
And then the next year, I think I was trying to sell life insurance, and as a 19 or 20-year-old college student, it's pretty hard to sell life insurance, but it gave me great experience.
Yeah, so and it actually worked out well for me because it was really hard, and I can tell you, summers in Florida, wearing out shoes, trying to make appointments, getting into somebody's house. And honestly, Jeff, we had 4 boxes that we would carry into the house. And I remember going into this one house, and this lady was like, "Oh my God, you're moving in."
So how do you differentiate selling vacuum cleaners to selling radio ads, radio time?
Well, it's a great question. Radio time versus, selling a vacuum cleaner is more of a need rather than, a luxury. That $1,250 vacuum cleaner was more of a luxury, okay? Advertising is more of what clients actually need. If you're really wanting to grow your business, you need to advertise. And I'm not suggesting that everybody needs to to obviously, be on radio. We'd like it if they were. But radio, I mean, if you're going to grow your business and not stay stagnant, advertising is something that is essential to everybody's business in some kind of way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and with the
Sure.
vacuum cleaners, you were selling to, households
Yep.
and to,
Mom and pop.
Well, and was it primarily women?
Well, it was women and men, and we knew that we had to have, because the husband and wife usually would make the decision together, but the wife had a little bit more pull. Okay, if you know what I mean. I've been married a long time, and I know you have too. So yeah, but yeah, we had to wait until both of them were there.
So, my father was a home builder for
Okay.
many years, and I worked in the business from the time I was 13 until I graduated law school at age 25. On Sundays, I'd go out there and, help him sell homes. And he always told me that, you wanted both the husband and wife there. Otherwise, he called it a one-legged presentation. Okay.
That's about right.
Okay?
Yeah,
You need both.
Yeah,
In order
yeah.
to close the deal, you need, both legs to walk, Anyhow, that's a little bit of sales
Sure.
talk. But
Sure.
So you're a young man.
Yep.
And you're working in the radio industry.
Yep.
So now all of a sudden you're talking with business owners, right?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about what your presentation was like when you would go talk to the business owners.
Well, going back to my rainbow days, it kind of taught me that presentation was essential. And you had to do a good job presenting, okay? It couldn't be sort of chunky here, you got to be able to have some consistency. So, back then it was, obviously a little bit less than what we do now, but, because we only sold basically spots, and we did promotions every now and again. But now radio has transitioned into so much more, with digital, with social media integration, promotions, events. So there's so many different levels now versus what there were, honestly, Jeff, back then.
So you would, how would you get your prospects for sales?
Oh my God. Yeah, again, my rainbow days taught me well. We went door to door, and it was basically cold calling. And in sales, you never met a stranger, so you go knocking on doors. I remember going, honestly, door to door. We would go into certain areas of town, right here in Gainesville, and other markets that I've been in as well. And myself, I would go from one business to the next, introducing myself. Hi, I'm Eric from KISS 105. Would you like to advertise with us?
Well, and I've known Eric for a long time.
Long
right?
time, Jeff.
And so really becoming part of the community. And Meldon Law has also been very involved with the community for decades and decades. So Eric and I always run into each other
Always.
at the
Always.
events, right?
Yeah.
You're not per se in sales right now, but you're out there in the community because the business owners, when they know you, they know that you're running the show out at KISS and at Jams, and that they feel comfortable doing business with you.
Yeah.
Now, Eric, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back at Meldon Law and Friends in 60 seconds.
Awesome.
When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together. which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm here with our good friend Eric Jewell, who's the Vice President and General Manager of KISS 105.3 as well as JAMS 98.9. Eric,
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you to explain a little bit about radio format because
Okay.
a lot of our listeners, I know KISS 105 is one of the biggest stations in this market here.
Yep.
Tell us about that format and also about the 98.9 JAMS format and how they complement each other in your business.
Okay. No, great question. KISS is what is known as a CHR, and that is contemporary hit. And what that means, Jeff, is we play most of the current hits. And our target demographic probably starts, 18 and goes to, in the 50s. I can tell you, because people love the music that we play.
I know that because, our team members at Meldon Law listen to KISS on the way in, so I know that they like it.
Yeah.
So what do we call that? Contemporary
hit.
Okay.
CHR. Yeah. So, and, we don't necessarily what they call break music, and that's with, introducing new music. We basically play the music that's, that's really hot. People get sometimes a little bit irritated that they hear certain songs, a few times during the course of the day.
Correct.
But those are the songs that people want to hear.
Right.
They really are.
Hey, I'm old enough to remember when the Rolling Stones, had some of their great songs like, I Can't Get No Satisfaction. And we'd go to the bars and put them on the jukebox and listen to them over and over and
my
over
goodness.
again,
Oh, yeah.
you don't get sick of your favorite song until the next favorite song comes along.
That is correct. And by the way, the Rolling Stones, the best rock band ever in the history of rock and roll. I can just tell you that.
I know. So
Yeah.
there was always the debate between the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and it was like you Stones or you Beatles, and I always loved both. However, I have a strong blues roots, and I always felt like the Stones resonated with me, even though I love the Beatles.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, the Rolling Stones, I can just tell you from personal experience, I stood up for 3.5 hours in Jacksonville for the Rolling Stones in 1989.
Wow.
I can tell you that, for 3.5 hours.
So you
So-
were talking about the format of
Yep.
KISS, and keep
And
going because I'm really
now
interested.
I will tell you a little bit about what is really a very popular format, our 98.9 JAMS. That is what we call a R&B station. And basically what that is rhythm and blues, okay? And it is what we call classic R&B. And, you can also go in the category of old school, R&B, okay? With the OJs, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, the Spinners.
Do you know that back in the 70s when I owned the Great Southern Music Hall?
I didn't know you owned that.
Yes.
Okay,
I was
all
the
right.
founder of the Great Southern
Oh,
Music
gosh,
Hall in
okay.
Gainesville, Florida, and we had some incredible R&B artists on. I was also doing some independent production outside of Gainesville in the Tampa Bay area, and I actually promoted both the OJs and Marvin Gaye.
Here in this town?
No, in Tampa.
Oh, in
I
Tampa,
did
okay.
'em,
Oh, my God,
At
okay.
the Curtis Hickson Auditorium down there.
Nice.
And I had the OJs over for dinner at my house, and I had Press and Ed's barbecue.
Oh,
Hated
President,
it.
I remember that.
So anyhow, and I loved, when I was, in college, I was the social chairman and the rush chairman, and so I always, tried to bring in some of the, R&B groups and things like that.
I have to tell you, Jeff, that format reaches far and wide, from gender to ethnicity, and honestly, and to younger people. You would be surprised how many young people love old school classic R&B.
Yeah.
It is very hot with my kids.
Well, so for 11 years in a row, I went on the legendary Rhythm and Blues cruise for 1 week, listening to nothing but some of the most awesome R&B and blues musicians in the country.
Wow.
So anyhow, I go way back on that.
Oh, I know.
So I'm
but
going to
it's
have
good.
to start spending more time on 98.9 jams
No,
because
well, I can tell you, your ads are over there.
good.
So there you go.
So getting to that,
Sure.
it's really interesting because we are really big as far as radio goes. We think that, as more and more people cut the cord on TV, that radio is, hanging in there as far as its prominence. Can you address that issue? How is radio dealing with the change in the way which people consume music while they're driving in their car or in home?
Well, that's obviously a great question. I think what has happened, we work with this research company that did, I was telling Josh outside that we have worked with this company, it's called Futuri, and they actually did a big research project that studied how people consume media, okay? And it's really interesting because a lot of what's happening is people are working from home more. And by the way, that's going to be that way for the foreseeable future. Probably more people are going to, obviously be working from home. So they have time to consume more of media. And I will just have to tell you, in radio, obviously I'm a little bit biased toward radio, people will always want to listen to their local radio station, to know what's going on, their local DJ. And, we're very fortunate to have some guys that are very, very popular in the marketplace.
Brett Douglas. Yeah. And,
yeah.
Brett, so every Monday at between 8 and 8:20, I call up KISS, or sometimes go out there, and the morning DJ who's been with you like 18 years or something like that.
Brett's
right?
been there for over 18 years. That is
Amazing.
correct.
And so he's the morning DJ, and people have a strong connection with their morning DJ.
They do. And it doesn't hurt when we do a lot of promotions, a lot of prize giveaway. We do, and I should have brought one. We give away Meldon mugs.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
We've got boxes of those that we give away. So, but to expound a little bit, I will tell you, just like every other business during the pandemic, we've had a rough time. Everybody did. We weren't fortunate enough to work from home. We still had to come in every day. Of course, we got vaccinated, but nobody was taking meetings, so we actually had to do a lot of proposals and a lot of things via email and, online. And we did, obviously a whole bunch of Zoom calls, just like everybody else did, doing a presentation. But it's nothing like, being in person. But, we were really fortunate to weather the storm. So, and I think, being really, so cemented into the local community is what, honestly really helped us a lot.
Yeah, because there's strong partners like Freddie Wiebe who've known you for years.
We love Freddie, absolutely.
And he was representing not only Meldon Law but a lot of other companies. And he was one of those folks who said, "Now's the time to go bigger, not smaller."
Yeah.
And
That's Freddie. That's Freddie. He's always looking big.
Well,
look at this place.
Yeah, look at I call it the abundance mentality.
Yeah.
And that it's scary for a small business person to invest a lot of money in something that you can't exactly measure.
Right. No, you can't. You just got to believe in it and have passion about that it's the right thing and not second guess yourself, Jeff.
And you have to stick with it. That's the other lesson. It's not like, we're going to advertise for 3 weeks and then give up on our campaign.
Well, let me ask you something. Can you be our personal spokesperson? Come on the air every day and tell people that, you got to stick with those campaigns and, 2 or 3 week trials actually don't work. You got to have some consistency about how you're doing it.
I will be glad to do that, Eric. I think that, I will be glad to, talk about how you're running KISS right now. And that for those of you that don't know, KISS is, what is it, 24th Avenue, Southwest 24th Avenue.
24th Avenue in Tower.
So I moved here in 1970. I'm this long-haired hippie,
I saw a picture of you the other day.
So anyhow, there was the station out there in the same building. It was called WGVL, and Irv Urim and his mother and aunt owned WGVL, and Storm Roberts, who has been on KTK. Okay, back then he was Bob Whalen. Okay.
We love Storm. He just retired.
He's just retiring. Yeah, I know, and he's been iconic. So he was, over 50 years. He was on the air, and
unbelievable.
I was working with Tom Petty promoting music events back in 1970 and 71 before I opened up my practice in November of 71. Next month will actually be the 50th anniversary of me practicing in Gainesville. So I'd go out there at night and we would get on the air, and, just go on and on. And it was my first time on radio.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it was so much fun. So when I went out to the studio and I saw it, I literally, the recording room there is literally the same room that I went to in 19.
Oh God.
The neat thing about radio is, if you've got a good DJ, you've got a good format, and you have good equipment.
And we, and great ownership. I have to say, Doug Gillen, who owns the radio station, has done an impeccable job, obviously, with the consistency of how he actually, has actually done, the format and stayed with it. I mean, embraced the community, lots of community involvement. So
well, Eric, we're coming near the end of the show, but
oh boy,
I just want to again remind folks to listen to KISS 105.3, particularly on Meldon Mondays.
That's right.
Okay, between
you may win a mug.
8 and 8:30. No, we give away all of our ticket giveaways for football, volleyball, gymnastics, whatever whatever's going on, and jams. 98.9, where you're going to get a lot of the classic R&B. They're both great formats. Eric Jewell, Vice President and General Manager of both stations. So thank you very much, Eric Jewell, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody who's listening and watching, and we'll see you next week on Meldon Law and Friends.